As an independent iOS developer, one of the most exciting parts is being able to bring my own ideas to life without the constraints of a large team. But it's not all sunshine and rainbows. Have you ever worked on a simple feature only for it to evolve into a huge team effort? Well, what if there was no team? As an independent developer, you're the developer, the BA, the designer, the tester. All of that work falls on just you. So today I'm going to show you what it looks like to work on one of those simple features as an independent developer. Right now I'm working on a custom calendar view for my app Ticker, an activity tracker. On the surface, the calendar seems pretty simple. It's just dates and activities to view. But as I dive into it, I'm finding that there's so many design decisions that I'm having to make. I started with a sketch of what I want the view to look like. I took inspiration from the iOS calendar app. The basic idea is it's a view of a month with each day having content inside of it. For Ticker, it will be a list of the activities that were done on that day. Considering my rough design, I started looking for tools I could use to implement this view. I looked at Apple APIs as well as some dependencies I could pull in. I looked at UI calendar view and Horizon calendar and a few others, but all of those basically are more like a date picker kind of view rather than what I want, which is a calendar layout where I can customize the content inside each day. So I came to the realization that I'm going to need a custom solution. Luckily, I have a different app where I implemented a custom date picker that creates a layout for the month. After I had the layout, I just had to go into each day to create the view that I wanted. In this case, I search for all of the activities for that day and display them in a VStack. Now this is where my problems really begin. I had the layout working, but it wasn't looking good. Now I'm not a designer at all, so I had to spend a lot of time iterating through different options and trying to find what would look good. I struggled so much with finding a way to make the whole month fit within the screen. I had to learn how to figure out how many days or how many weeks are going to be in the month, and then use that math to split up the height of the screen. And finally, once I had all of that math worked out, I implemented it and it wasn't big enough. So I had to just toss that out, and I ended up coming up with a pretty simple solution where I just set a constant height for each day and then just put it in a scroll view. So it didn't matter how many weeks are in the month, I just scroll through it. Now, all of that took me several hours to work through. And since I'm only able to dedicate a couple hours at a time to this took a couple of days to implement. But finally, after all of that effort, I had something that looked like my original plan. But unfortunately, that only led me to see more problems with that solution. So this is where I left off on the custom calendar view. So by completing this feature, I've actually just added a bunch of work that I need to do still. Even with the changes that I've made, each individual day still looks crowded and just not very nice. So there's obviously a need for being able to expand each day to see all of the activities that are on that day much more easily. My running plan right now is to have a view appear below the week on the calendar that just lists the activities in like a card view, similar to the way it does on other screens. Right now, all of the activities are the same color, but obviously it would be better if there was some variance there. So I think what I want to do is assign a color to either a goal or a group that's on the activity, and then use that on the calendar screen as the color for the activity. So I'm going to have to go to the goal and the group screens and give the user the ability to assign a color to it, and then go back to the calendar view and use that color as on the activity for it. The way I've implemented it so far, the calendar view and the old list view are in the same navigation path. I was liking this solution until I wasn't. What I think is a better solution is to have both of those views occupy the same area on the activities view, and allow the user to press a button to switch between the calendar view and the list view. This will help a lot with sharing the timer functionality, because I want the user to be able to add a new activity or start a new activity whether they're in the calendar view or the list view. And that's a lot of extra work I've added, right? Well, guess what? There's more. As I was designing the layout for the calendar view, I thought of a cool idea of how to update the current running activity view. Instead of it just being a section of the activity screen, I thought it'd be really cool to have something like the media controller that's in Spotify running at the bottom of your screen that shows the name and the elapsed time. And then when you press it, it would show a full sheet view with more details in the image if you've captured one for it. Again, a coworker who had experience with design would have been pretty clutch here, because it's done the way that I had been planning, but it just doesn't look very nice. I'm definitely going to have to spend more time on the detail view to make that look a lot nicer. This is another common challenge I'm running into being an independent developer, just scope creep. In my job, I run into it a lot, but from my developer perspective, I can say, sorry, it's a great idea, but it just adds so much work, and we can't deliver the feature that we originally agreed to in a timely manner if we add this new feature in. If you really want it, you'll add it. You should add it as another feature, and we can work on that later. I'm not as successful with convincing myself that I don't need to work on that feature right now because it'll be cool. So both of these new features that I've added are in a done but not really done state. They pretty much do what I imagine them to do, but they're both obviously going to need some more polish before they're ready for users. And that's really how every feature has gone. I'm honestly not complaining. I'm just learning that working on this app by myself is taking a lot more time than I would have thought, and it's hard work. These are the kind of challenges that I'm running into. And it's not just the code. I have to make sure that the experience is intuitive and it looks nice. Balancing all of that is a struggle, and it makes staying on schedule pretty tough. So that's the reality of being an independent developer. The calendar is just one example from a list of many, but that's also what makes it rewarding. I know that once I finally get it, I know that I'm the one that finally got it. If this video was interesting to you and you want to hear more about my struggles and triumphs as an independent developer, please subscribe. And I'm going to have a link to my Twitter account in the description below. And if you're an indie app developer too, what struggles do you face? Put them in the comments below and let's have a conversation about it. Well, I better get back to working on Ticker. Nobody else is. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you next time.